Hari Om. Let's start with a prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are looking now at the obstacles for self-realization, and of the many obstacles, Krishna points out important three ones in the sloka 440, that is 4th chapter and the 40th sloka. This is Ajñascha Shraddhadhanascha Samsayatma Vinasyati Nayam Lokosti Naparo Nasukam Samsayatmanaha. So for Samsayatma is one who has a doubts about it. So here he has pointed out three aspects. One is the Ajnanam, so Ajnaha, Ashraddhadhanaha, the one who does not have the proper Shraddha, the faith in the teaching, and Samsayatma, one who has the doubts about the nature of the reality and the means of gaining that also. And if he has any of those things, three obstacles, he says for him he will get destroyed, vinasyati, means he will not reach the highest state, he will be going through the life cycles on and on and on. And Nayam Lokosti Naparaha Nasukham Samsayatma. So neither this world he can enjoy properly, or nor the higher lokas or supreme reality, and Nasukham, and there will be restlessness all the time because he is still engulfed in the samsara, and therefore there is no sukham, there is no absolute happiness in the samsara for samsayatmanaha, for one who has a samshayam, who has a doubts about the truth. We are analyzing the jnanam aspect of it, and we mentioned from the Advaita point, it's based on Adhyaropa Apavada. So even in Vedanta we have the different types of statements, and what exactly is the truth and what is the interpretation. They are called Veda Vakyas are there, Abheda Vakyas are there. Veda Vakya means differentiating this and that. So differentiating the Jagat, Jiva and Ishvara. And also there is Abheda Vakya, that says the unity that pervades the Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. There is only one reality, and that's absolute reality, and there is a Veda and Abheda, and some Acharyas have given importance to Veda Vakyas, some Acharyas Advaita Vedanta has given importance to Abheda Vakyas as the primary teaching. There are the other ones are called Adhyaropa Apavada. They are initially needed until you go to higher level. And just like we learn in the physics, we learn a Rutherford model and all other models, and after learning that, then we learn that they are not right, and then we go to Bohr model and so on and so forth. If they are not right, why do we have to learn all those things? Because to prepare our mind so that our mind has evolved all the problems involved and what is wrong with it, and therefore what should be the right has to be understood also. So initially I am not ready to accept the higher truth, therefore for the mind to train itself I had to go this step by step. And just like right now in the so-called new math and all that, first you have to learn the math with the base 10, and slowly you have to evolve into the base 2 and base 8 and so on and so forth, other bases. Then you can understand the whole structure of the math also. But if you start away with the base 2 and all that, and if you start with the new math right away, you won't have the basic math, and you won't get correctly understand the new math also. And that one has to be careful when to new math to be introduced, where the mind has to be prepared for that. In the same way, the Vedanta also understand, and therefore Vedanta itself has its statements and depends upon what is important here. the Veda Vakyas that differentiate the Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, they call Veda Vakyas. There are many compared to the Advaita Veda, the Abheda Vakyas. Abheda means non-difference between Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara, and that oneness that pervades all that. And that or number of them are Mahavakyas are essentially very few compared to Abheda Vakya. So some Acharyas based on the number density therefore give importance to the, and that is the main teaching of the Vedanta, and other teaching is only the Abheda Vakyas only just a glorifying statement. Glorifying statement is, say, Aham Brahmasmi. How do they interpret the Dvaitins and Visishtadvaitins? I am Brahman. Say, I cannot be Brahman according to them. Only means it's only identification as a function of Upadhi only. The hand can say, I am so and so. The total personality, it's only from the point of appreciating from the totality only. Therefore, it's called Upasana, or from the point of glorifying statement. It's like similar to, hey, he is a pillar of the society. So when you say he is a pillar of the society, you cannot take the word meaning of that. It's only glorifying statement where he is the supporter, not that he is pillar like an inert sitting there on the society. No, it implies that that he promotes the society is based on, and he is a tiger among the men. Not that he is literally a tiger moving along the men, but means he is the one who is really forward and taken advantage or aggressive in terms of trying to establish what need to be established. So these are called glorifying statements, and glorifying statements are also according to the Dvaitins and Visishtadvaitins. These Mahavakyas, so-called Mahavakyas, from their point are only glorifying statement, and what is the truth is that Dvaita or Visishtadvaita alone is the truth. So when their teaching is that, then Advaitin comes in, he says there is another one which is supreme. So he takes the Mahavakyas and Abheda Vakyas are supreme, and therefore Veda Vakyas are interpreted, they are not rejected, they are interpreted as Adhyaropa Apavada. Adhyaropa means up to that point they are real, but now you have to give up that and go to the next level. So when I invoke the Upasana, for Upasana I am invoking the Lord to come in the particular form, and therefore I am praying in that form. I am taking the form as a real, and Lord is representation of that. So in fact Visishtadvaita emphasizes that all the Vigrahas are essentially a representation of the Lord Himself, and that has to be recognized as a part of His Vibhuti. Whereas here is only for invocation, that is, because from the point of the truth, Lord is everywhere. So every form is His form, but I cannot worship every form. Therefore, I take a particular form so that my mind can concentrate, but I had to go beyond the form. At one stage, once I have done Upasana, when the mind has purified enough, says Samasta Durita Shayartam, to remove all the sins, I am doing this puja. But once the vasanas are removed, mind has become purified, then I had to concentrate on what is the nature of even the reality also. For that only the scripture guides, says that which you see is not God. Yachakshusa na pasyati, ena chakshum se pasyati, tadeva brahma tvam vidhi, nedam yadidam upasate. Says, in fact it says, you have to reject that. Adhyaropa apavada. Apavada means rejection of what you have learned so far and go to the next step. What is the next step? You have done Upasana, and Upasana will be invocation of the Lord Ishvara, and Ishvara is different from you. All that is done. But now it takes your mind beyond. It says, Yan manasa na manute, ye nahur manomatam, tadeva brahma tvam vidhi, nedam yadidam upasate, nedam yadidam upasate. Not this what you are worshipping is not Brahman. So immediately Nama Rupas are rejected right away. But for the rejection to become a faithful Shraddha, I have to have a prepared mind. Therefore, that also becomes a jnanam. Correct knowledge also has to be required. And therefore, the Upanishad himself takes in terms of adhyaropa, upavada, apavada. That means up to this point you take that. So in the Taittiriya Upanishad, this is Annamaya Kosha. Annamaya Kosha is a Brahman, but up to that understanding, then you reject the Annamaya Kosha, go to Pranamaya Kosha. And Pranamaya Kosha is described as Brahman. Then again, rejection of Pranamaya, go to the Manomaya, similarly Vijnanamaya, and ultimately the Anandamaya, and then beyond that is pure Satchidananda Swarupam. So this so-called Adhyaropa Apavada is required of the methodology of teaching itself, and that is the correct knowledge. Therefore, Jnanam here is because of the several, even Vedantins have different religions and matas and all that established and arguing that that is reality. So what exactly should be? Why not Advaita also is the same problem too? So Advaita also can be wrong, there may be something superior. So what is correct moksha has to be understood. So we should have logically also it should be clear. So Advaita rests on the logic too. They are called Shastram, Anubhavam, Yukti and Anubhavam. All three aspects. So what is the logic involved? In fact, we learned that it's not logical. Naisha tarkena matirapaneya says logically I cannot deduce. Then how do you say apply logic? Here logic is according to the Shastram only. So what is the logic here? It says what is logic? What is samsara? Samsara is defined as desa kala vastu parichinnatvam. You have to be careful here. It says it is limited by space, limited by time, and limited by object wise. I am different, he is different, she is different. So this is the cause for samsara. If that is a cause for, because when I am different, he is different, then all the duality comes into picture, and Dvitiyadva Bhayam Bhavati, any duality causes a fear, because I am not afraid of myself, I am afraid of something other than myself. So the whole universe is because of this problem. Therefore, it says essentially the non-duality alone is experientially, that is happiness, because in the deep sleep state there is no duality and I am happy. So experientially the scripture or the nature is indicating the Advaita alone is the Sukham. And even when I am Jnanam with Advaitam, Jnanam comes with the mind there is Advaita. So I have to understand Advaita in spite of Dvaita, and that's what it's called Advaita. The Advaita is not the oneness, but it is negation of the duality by proper understanding. And negating, what is negating? I am negating only superficial Nama Rupa while seeing the absolute oneness that is pervading. That is what Advaita points out. So therefore, it is here the knowledge has to be understood properly, where the scripture itself is taking step by step, and therefore in spite of that it says desa kala vastu parichinnatvam is samsaram. Therefore moksha, freedom, has to be desa kala aparichinnatvam. That means spatially, time wise, desam, spatially limitation should not be there, time wise should not be there, and object wise should not be there. That means there cannot be any other object. Any two objects limits one object is limited by other object. So object limitation should not be there. Time wise limitation, so I am beyond the time, and space wise also I am beyond the space also. So therefore moksha cannot be going somewhere. If I go somewhere and that is moksha, that means it's not here and it is there. That means it is already parichinnam, that is limited by space. So even though you may glorify Vaikuntha or Kailasha, it is not here and it is somewhere else. Yeah, that very fact is it is not here and now. Now is not a time, and therefore it is beyond the time. And desham is spatial location, and therefore any moksha that is spatially located cannot be moksha by logic also, because I am still limited. And even in Vaikuntha, according to this, the Sishta Advaita, there is a hierarchy of divisions are still there. That means there is object-wise divisions. Vastu Parichinnam is still there. Why? Because Narayana is different, Lakshmi is different, Garuda is different, and Vishwaksena is different. There is a hierarchy of Jiva. Narada is different. They are eternal Nitya Mukta Jivas, and there are other jivas that are coming in and recognizing, and there is so many jivas, realized masters are there, and you may have, in spite of the Dvaita, you may claim that there is no, everybody is peaceful and all that. That's only a statement of hypothesis, because any duality causes a problem is a statement of scriptures. And therefore, even there, I am having a problem. Therefore, that kind of moksha, any moksha that is all religions prescribe, that you have to go somewhere else for realization. Realization is not here, after death only. All religions practice the moksha after death. That means it's not here, and I'd go somewhere else to heaven or somewhere else, Vaikuntha, Kailasa or some other place. That means they are all limited by space-wise, time-wise, object-wise. And therefore, from the logical point also one has to apply, and the Advaita says the moksha is right here and right now. Because right here is, there is no spatial coordinates, because right now is now. Now is not a time. Because even though scriptures, the Mura Mimamsa says, when I am seeing an object now, time is also seen by the Sakshi. No. Now time involves, now is what? Present. Present is what? Present is where past me is meeting the future. Past is meeting how long it should be present. Today is present, this year is present, today is present, this hour is present, this second is present, this microsecond is present, this picosecond is, I cannot keep on changing, and the present is becoming so smaller and smaller and smaller that it is imperceptible. What is there actually is only the one who is doing the division. And that alone is, that presence alone is real, and that present is what is, who is doing division? The observer of the gap. The observer is gap is nothing but a conscious entity, and consciousness that I am, the existent consciousness that I am, who is in giving the division, who is conscious of even the time is beyond the time. And that is right now and right here. Space is nothing but simultaneous observation of two simultaneous points. The gap between two simultaneous observations is space. But observer is independent of the space also, because I am observer observing the space also. That's why in the deep sleep state there is no time and there is no space, but I am there beyond the space and time. Therefore, moksha is, according to Advaita and according to the Shastra, is Desakala Aparichinnatvam. Therefore, Jnanam that Advaita teaches doesn't belong to the same category as all other, even though Vedanta is trying to prescribe that. Other interpretations and other acharyas are interpreting in a different way, and if I get carried away with that, then I get lost out of it. So therefore, they are essential requirements up to reach that point for purification of the mind. So Karma Yoga involves a differentiation, therefore there is a plurality, and Upasana involves plurality, all the way until Advaita comes into picture, and therefore Ishvara Anugrahat Eva Pumsam Advaita Vasana. Only by the blessing of the Ishvara only one is led to Advaita Vasana, Advaita teacher also. So it's only to the punyam or the merits of so many that one is led to the Advaita. It's not a brainwashing statement. So moksha is logically what is Advaita points out, because there is no limitations of anything, and moksha has to be freedom from all limitations, and limitations are essentially desakala vastu. They time-wise, space-wise and object-wise are the essential limitations, and therefore moksha has to be freedom from all that. And that is the real jnanam, and the one who has that clear shraddha. So Krishna says, Ajnasya Ashraddhadanasya. The one who does not have this shraddha on this teaching cannot also gain. So this the shraddha, the faith in the teaching, because it's not directly provable or not seeable or perceptible. The truth is that one has to recognize using the mind and intellect. By subtle intellect only one has to claim that one, and therefore it has to be purified mind only can recognize it. Therefore one doesn't have that shraddha on that, cannot gain this knowledge. So essentially, he's talking about the nature of the reality and why we don't have ashraddha. Shraddha is in terms of the pramana and in terms of the pramata also. Pramana is the means of knowledge. I don't believe the Vedanta is the reality, and why not other teachers are also teaching? This is another statement. Other teachers who do not know Vedanta, then they are able to teach also. So are they realized souls or not realized souls? And they may also teach what Vedanta says, but they have not studied Vedanta. This we'll try to address it in more carefully in the next talk, and with that we'll stop because it involves subject, and we stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.